what's up with taxes on precious metals? Can you break this down? Because a lot of people are, I don't know if confused or just want to know the whole gist about this thing.
And when you buy gold and silver, there are no taxes and no reporting as long as you pay with a check, a wire, an e-check. The only time there would be reporting on purchase if you paid with cash over
Ten
$10,000.
thousand, yeah.
But that would be the same thing as if you went to PGA Superstore and bought, 5 sets of golf clubs for your entire family and outfitted them without, wardrobe and shoes. And then when it's all set at the end of the day, it's $10,050. And you pull out $100 bills and pay $10,100. They're going to issue a Form 8300. It's not specific to gold. It's
Right.
anything in the United States. And the Form 8300 is you paid for something with cash over 10 grand. And then it asks you your social security number, the number of bills you used, the denomination, all that kind of stuff. Because if you haven't shown through tax records that you're capable of receiving a Form 8300, you may get a knock on your door. But when you buy anything, you could write me a check or send me a wire for $50 million. There's no reporting, no taxes. All right. When you sell, in terms of gold, there are 4 items that trigger dealer reporting on sellback. In there are 3 coins and then bars. So in bar form, if you sell gold bars that exceed 1 kilo or more, 32.15 ounces, the dealer would need your social security number, would file a 1099-B miscellaneous income form. So you could sell 32 1-ounce bars. It's still your responsibility to file that and it's the honor system, tell the IRS or your accountant that, hey, I paid X a few years ago. I sold them for Y yesterday. That would be 32 bars. The minute you cross 32 bars, 32.15 being a kilo, then we do the miscellaneous income reporting, the 1099 for you. So that's bar form. In coins, it's gold Krugerrands, gold Maple Leafs, and Mexican 50 pesos on the 25th ounce. You sell 24 ounces, no dealer reporting. You sell 25, there is. Now, you could sell 24 ounces today and 24 in 3 days and 24 in 5 days, as long as you don't tell the dealer that, hey, I got 100 coins and I'm not paying taxes, so I'm going to break it up in 4 transactions. No, don't do that. Just simply sell under 25 ounces as frequently as you like in individual non-related transactions. That is the law. My job is to show you where the law is, to allow you to look over it but never step over it. That is the law in gold. On silver, again, no taxes on purchase, but when you sell it, if you sell more than 1,000 ounces in bar or generic round form, no sovereign coins, just bars or rounds, on the 1,000th ounce, 1099-B is filed. And then junk silver, pre-65 dimes, quarters, and half dollars on the 1,000th dollar face value triggers a 1099. That's it. Now, all of these items, junk silver, silver bars and rounds, gold Krugerrands, gold Maples, 50 pesos, and gold bars at one point were all listed on the exchange. And that was the deal that ICTA, the Industry Council for Tangible Assets, made with the IRS. That when you eclipse these numbers in what is being sold back, that we, the metals industry, has to issue a 1099-B. Anything under that amount in individual transactions would not be the case. And so infer from it what you will, but that would be, in any case, I'll put it to you this way. No matter what you sell, got a lot of publicity about the woman who bought almost 1 million silver eagles. She could sell every one of those back to me. I would do no reporting, but she would have to. So it's dealer reporting that is triggered on some of these other things, but it's always the consumer's job to report to the IRS or through their accountant when they sell something and have a gain.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know. And that's the thing. That's the cool thing about, having this show with you, is because I'm sure a lot of people do have a lot of different questions. And actually, I know one person emailed me. They were from Canada. and they were asking about this as well. How different is it from country to country with this stuff?
Well, I'm
Like,
sure it's very different.
yeah,
The IRS and Revenue Canada are very different. I'm sure there
yeah,
is some similarity, but I think all of them will require some form of reporting when you
right,
sell an asset with a gain. One other thing that I'll mention, the very nature of metals, like, I always talk about how I've been buying gold and silver every 2 weeks for 33 years. I'm sure I don't have all my receipts going back to when I was 20 years old. Um, the IRS would ask for your best faith estimate at that
mm,
point. So they realize that by their very nature, this is something that gets put away for a long time. As you were saying, some of your people you talk to never want to sell it. Well, maybe they do need to sell it. Never comes a day or two early. What did they pay for it? Crap, I don't remember. What do you think
yeah,
you paid for it? Well, I think it was in 2004. All right, let's go back to 04. What was the price? So they ask for your best faith estimate, but it's not a perfect science in any case.
right, yeah. All right. So, I did want to ask you, is there any market updates? Anything with the BRICS nations, anything interesting that's happened in the last week or so since we talked?
I mean, you got there's not, well, first of all, before I talk about the BRICS, have you talked much about the states that have been um, approving gold and silver for legal tender? So, Wyoming and Missouri just passed legislation to not only have gold and silver as part of their assets, state owned assets or reserves, but they also have enabled them to be legal tender for all debts, private and
Yeah.
public. Kansas has this on the docket. I believe Tennessee does. Boise, Idaho just did the exact same thing. And I wanted to
Wow. I
read.
did. Yeah.
Sorry.
I know. I covered one state. I didn't know there's multiple now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
There
wow.
are multiple: Kansas, Idaho, Missouri,
Wyoming.
Wyoming. And I wanted to read to you something from the representative from Idaho, which, I talk a lot about the central banks buying gold. They've been buying more than the second most in history, more than any time since 67. And Representative Vito Barberi said on the speaking on the House floor in Idaho that we need to give our treasurer the ability to consider doing what so many central banks around the world have been doing, which is acquiring gold. Gold and silver are also right there in our US Constitution. So by the states waking up and telling their constituents that, hey, you're getting robbed by inflation and by the brain dead monetary policy of the Fed, we're going to start to allow you to not only hold gold and silver and pay your taxes in it, but to use it in exchange for all debts, public and private. And look, you got Ohio, you got Texas. They both passed bills that are allowed to have 5% physical gold holding in the public pension funds. West Virginia, Mississippi, Maine, Tennessee, Montana, they're considering something very similar to what Idaho just did. It's a big deal. It's a really
Hmm.
big deal. I think it will wake up the U.S.
Yeah.
Public. As far as BRICS, there hasn't been a ton new with BRICS. The only thing that I would say is that Hungary just did something very interesting. When all of the Eastern European banks repatriated their gold leading up to this reclassification of gold and all the things that were happening, Hungary was one of the ones that was in the mix here. And they just, the Daily News announced that hundreds of high ranking military officials that were all sympathetic to NATO were fired. And so you're talking about even including their defense ministry, or minister. And so all of these people they fired were pro NATO officers. I think this is another indication that you're going to see, just like Turkey, you're going to see Hungary move into the BRICS fray. We talked about Turkey buying more gold in 2022 than any country on the planet, and also joining the BRICS nations in 2022. Well, that trend continues. They bought 23 tons in January, making it the biggest buyer of metals amongst the central banks in the month of January. And so you're seeing that was followed, by the way, by China and Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan, a member of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, I believe in the Eurasian Economic Union, and obviously China in the mix on all of these groups that are by the day coalescing. So yeah, I think that it's getting a little bit interesting where
Yeah,
our country has given $114 billion to the Ukraine, including giving pensions to the Ukrainian government when there's a $1.75 trillion shortfall in U.S. pensions and $5 billion to build a wall to protect our border from letting fentanyl and 5 million illegal immigrants pour in isn't. Well, that's
right,
too much, but 114 billion
right.
isn't. And I don't know, it's getting crazy. It's getting crazy. And I think while there wasn't as much to talk about this time with the BRICS, I have the feeling that this will be the year of the BRICS. And
Yeah.
as we continue down through 2023, that will certainly dominate what we talk about from week to week.
CNBC posted something a couple days ago. It says Iran says it just discovered what could be the world's second largest lithium deposit. It's like, how timely.
Yeah, well, and so these countries, the countries in the Eurasian continent, the primarily the Eurasian continent, these countries have all the majority of all
Yeah.
the rare earth metals that are needed in electric vehicle and battery production. So while we haven't thought this through very well, we
Yeah.
tell Saudi Arabia we're going green, and yet you have President Wadudu from Philippines, maybe. I want to say one of these countries. Probably getting that wrong, but anyways, he's a member of OPEC, so I don't think it's the Philippines. It'll come to me in a moment. But anyways, he said that we need to have a OPEC style cartel for rare earth metals as well. So, this is a situation that is not going to end well with energy prices
Yeah.
when Saudi Arabia ditches the dollar as a settlement currency and we try to go green, reliant upon other countries around the globe that have all of the rare earth metals that are needed to make battery powered vehicles and whatnot. And these countries aren't going to be eager just to
Yeah.
give them away to the U.S. and to the West. So yeah, man, it's never been more tenuous and never been more
Yeah.
important to be a contrarian.
Yeah. Man, there's such a big power shift happening. Like I feel like this is such a big play of and it's genius. I mean, like I can't even hate like it's like we shot ourselves in the foot, it seems, but also they almost saw this coming and they knew we would shoot ourselves in the foot. So they've been this whole time kind of, you know, adjusting around it. But
That's
uh
exactly what I mean. It's a lot of it is mathematics and logic, but yes, you
yeah,
you can see it's happening, and they have adjusted. I mean, you got massive energy deals that are being signed right now. China National Petroleum Company, the largest gas importer in the country, and this one's they just signed the an import deal with Qatar. It's the largest long-term liquid national gas deal ever. I mean, so they're buying uh, energy in other currencies from other countries. They're sidestepping the dollar as settlement currency. It's getting real very, very fast.
yeah.